game between the Polar Dwarves and Elves. This is the final game of the league. I decided to show this game because I think it's a pretty good game. It shows good play from both sides, and especially the reason I really want to show this game was because it shows the power of Jarmund and the power of Holleas. This is more a Jarmund versus Holleas game than it is a Maldaria versus Vara. This is why I value Holleas high, and also because why I think Jarmund, despite sometimes feeling not so great in some games, I feel he's pretty solid champion, because sometimes he's amazing, like it was in this game. So I start the game. Starting with Elves is not easy. Against the Polar Dwarves, never starting versus Polar Dwarves is easy because you can just shift the gates, but you have to do something and you can't be passive. So I go ahead and summon a Guardian and do kind of like a column of units, just do not allow many attacks to my units without him exposing. I'm lucky and I just one-shot the Frost Mage, that's pretty good. And he has this wide opening, which is actually interesting because Maldaria doesn't have good targets to punish, and I'm very lucky that my Guardian doesn't get killed. It was 5 dice, so I mean it wasn't like super likely to die, but still I got only 1 damage, so that's very good for me. And I decide to move Maldaria to the left to support those 2 Wardens that are going to be my offense for a while. One of the problems of the Fennec Elves is that Guardians with hits only 1 attack don't do much damage to structures. So here you can see kind of what I've been discarding. I discard the Retribution because I don't think it's good in this matchup. All Darkness are high life. The Born, which is decent, is still also not great. You really, in this matchup, you need a high attack, and Fire Drake was a consideration, but so early on, I don't want to spend so much time trying to get to 8 magic, and I think it's 7 then not that great in this matchup, but it's fine if it doesn't require much effort. Still, I'm lucky and find Holleas, which is going to, as I said, going to be the core of my gameplay for most of the game. She doesn't have Ember units to support her right now, but I have many in the deck, so I'm sure I'm going to find them. I find 2 gates which I'm going to use to try to expand a little my presence on the board. But now it's Polar Dwarf Stone, which is just a very solid Frost Mage, supported by the gates. Again, not very easy, especially with my cards to combat that, but I decide to use the power of Maldaria, which means I do 4 attack, raise a gate, just to, and then bring a Guardian there. Sadly, the Guardians don't do much damage to structure, which is their weakness. You see I discard the other gate, and that's because, yeah, I think I prefer magic at this point. I don't see what other, which is 2 gates I think I can manage the rest of the game, or most of the game. And yeah, I keep the Phoenix because with Holleas I assume going to summon many archers, many beasts, and especially not many have gone through, so yeah, I think Spirit of the Phoenix is going to be very useful. So Holleas attacks, Swara attacks my Guardian, Frost Mage just attack the other Guardian, which is again expected. And then, I want to say that comes Jarmund, and this is complicated for me because I can't destroy gates fast enough. And by my own decision, I created kind of a cluster of units on this zone. And I don't think I have an easy way to just turn around or have a high mobility. And the reason I did decide to go for a kind of a static strategy was because I had Holleas. Holleas is actually very good in static fights, Because one of the weaknesses of Holleas is that moving her, moving the units can be kind of slow and annoying. But if you can create that static game, which is what Polar Dwarves do, Holleas is actually pretty good. And since I expect that, that's pretty much my plan, right? Just, I think Holleas can compete even on static wars with Svara, kind of. And that's kind of the best I can expect in this game. So yeah, Holleas is a good strategy, but Jarmund is kind of one of the worst things I can be facing because I can't destroy gates fast enough. So it's my turn. I summon some archers to do more damage. Nothing really interesting here. Just I don't feel like I can get enough value from Phoenix yet, but it was a consideration for sure. Probably if the Frost Mage will have one more life, I will get the Phoenix Elves just to kill it, but I could kill it without it, so no need. And there comes a little greedy game with Jarmund sending structures to make use of his powerful Ice Shard, while I use Holleas to boost my units. You can see Ice Shard doing really amazing work. And yeah, so that's one of the problems with Holleas. One of the powers is that if you kill the units adjacent to Holleas, they can be replaced by beasts, which punish you very heavily with his Wildfire plus 4 attack from Holleas. So yeah, that's why I'm willing to accept this dynamic, because I think with Holleas I can do it. But still, like, this is Jarmund. So yeah, that's what I was saying. It was the power of Holleas versus the power of Jarmund. I'm lucky I make quick work of the golems, and I attack with Maldaria the parapet. I need to start rid of structures, and Maldaria is one of my highest attacks. In addition, I mean, I also have beats for 4 attacks, but the parapet is very annoying. Yeah, I know Svara can move the parapet, but not reach with Ice Shard. And yes, this best is dead, but I need to, I need to start taking some damage because of the parapet, but there is no other way I can find. This is basically, yeah, just pretty much an efficiency battle. I was very unlucky. I don't know if very unlucky, but I didn't manage to one-shot the parapet with the archer, which was my idea, to attack with Maldaria and do 4 attacks. Instead I have to waste all the power of Maldaria for just killing the 1 life parapet. That was pretty bad for me, which means Jarmund avoids another shot, and I take another shot for free. And I can activate color protection. So another turn from Svara, which is pretty much trading. And I summon Vanessa. This was on my plan all the time. Vanessa, once you get this kind of close, if you see, we are not using most of the board. This is the board we come very close, and Vanessa shines on those areas because it's very hard to avoid triggering her reposite. So yeah, I think it was always my plans and to summon her, and I found this was the time. And there are many tactical things going on, nothing big strategically, just pretty much trading gloves. Nothing really weird from any side, and keep trying to max value beasts. And this turn I decide to do the Phoenix. I don't know if it was the right turn, but actually I was checking that I was running out of targets for Phoenix, so any decent use I could make, I will do. And this is it. And this wildfire does 4 damage and fails to kill Jarmund again, which was very big. I think if I kill a Jarmund there, the game will shift in my favor very much, but I don't. And I moved the beast to protect with Blind Flare. Do not allow... right now, I left Svara with no good targets. These 3 are with Flare and Vanessa with Phoenix Force. With the Phoenix Force, just Riverside is too strong to attack her. So I was very happy, but I knew this could happen, but yeah, Ice Ram plus Shift just makes my whole play just kind of even the field. And goes and says just Chief Ram turns are just brutal. Just moving my things around, doing a lot of damage. Holleas finally goes down, Beast almost dead. Yeah, I think I was in the lead until this turn. This was amazing for Svara. Not only because it did all that it did, but I spent 3 resources, I would say 2 resources to protect my units, and it was ignored. Instead, Svara did a lot of damage. She did take 1 damage for inevitability, which is fine. But yeah, at this point we reached the end game, and honestly there is nothing really interesting happening here. I'm just going to let it play out. It's basically we just trading blows, and there are a few tacticals. I mean, there was a slight mistake from any side would be very crucial, but nothing really I want to comment on. I will just let it roll. You see a lot of tactical placement. Both sides pinging each other with its range attacks, trying to minimize damage. There are 2 times I did this. I send an Ember Mage and I attack with Maldaria, and then it's just bring the Ember Mage to safety and protect Maldaria. That's what the most powerful use of... when Maldaria does that, because her color protection seems OP. So you can see this was a long game. The Polar Dwarves often generate these kind of games because her cards are high health and reckless action against Svara ends generally in death for the opponent. So yeah, that was the game. This was the final game of the session. I think it was a great game, and I think that's all I have to say about it.